All right, we got a video from Vanessa Wingard about billionaires want us to be homeless. Let's get into it.
Ever wonder how much it costs to live in a camper? It's not as cheap as you might think.
And I do love this house. I love everything about this house. I've come to the realization that I can't stay here because I can't afford to.
You know, I live full-time in an RV, and we're trying to get a new RV, and they're just super expensive.
Call it a mobile home, call it a trailer, but either way, we're buying one.
Look, there in America, there is an influx of people buying RVs, buying storage units, or even renting storage units because they can't afford rent in an apartment or in their house. And it is significantly scary. Scary times we're living in. And you're about to find out why.
People are buying storage sheds from Home Depot and converting them into homes. The billionaires have already bought those too.
I just got our rent renewal and it's going up by $300 a month. $300 for a one-bedroom apartment that is not updated in any sort of way. We already pay, with all the fees and everything, $2,000 a month, and now we're going to be paying $2,300 a month for the.
Oh, fuck no. I'm sorry. Look, I have lived in two types of apartments. One that was so terrible. The paint job, it was awful. 2 bedrooms, 1 kitchen, living room, bathroom, but no washer or dryer. And it was almost $1,000. And then the price kept going up every year by $100. Nothing changed. Nothing got better. But whatever. Even the landlord, every time I call the landlord about an issue that is caused by the apartment, nothing gets done. I eventually moved out. Found a more expensive apartment in North Dakota, which was just a little bit expensive, but more room, nicer neighborhood. The neighborhood was always nice, but less annoying people, and it was almost kind of luxurious. You know, my own washer and dryer, 2 huge bedrooms, 1 large living room, a large kitchen, and 2 showers, 2 toilets, 3 sinks, his and her sink, and then 1 single sink, and then a garage, a parking space. I could fit 3. I could actually have all 3 of my vehicles with me, with no problem. 2,300 USD. Boy.
This tiny apartment.
22.6 million renters in the US are now cost burdened, meaning they're spending more than 30% of their income just on housing and utilities. People are working 40, 50 hours a week, but half their paycheck is gone before they've even bought groceries, gas, or had any fun. So naturally, people start thinking, why am I paying someone else's mortgage? I should just buy a house. And that's where the next trap lies. The median single-family home hit over $400,000 in 2024. That's 5 times the median household income. To afford the monthly mortgage payment on that home, you need to earn at least $126,000 a year. Out of the 46 million people who rent in the US, only 6 million of those people make that amount of money each year. That means mathematically, 87% of renters will never own a home.
So I was just
You know, the funny thing is, even though I was making that annually, I still would not buy a house in America. I'm sorry. Because here's the thing. Even if you do buy, let's say you can afford a house and you have to keep paying these property taxes, and the property taxes, they just keep going up every year and every year, every year. And next thing you know, it's like renting an apartment. You paid for the house, but it's still the same as paying rent at an apartment. Because if you miss a payment for your property taxes, they're taking the house. You're getting evicted for something you've already paid for and supposedly own. So it doesn't make sense to buy a house in America. Does not make sense.
out on a walk right now and check out these homes next to this path that I'm on. I was looking these homes up on Zillow, and you're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 615, 625, 650 for these really tiny houses. I mean, they're not very big. You can see the properties they're sitting on are tiny, and yet people want $650,000 for these homes at what, 6.25% interest rates. Like, no wonder nobody can afford anything.
You know what's funny about that? As these houses began to get more expensive, the materials to build them began to be cheaper. And what I mean by that is while these over 500,000 houses began to get more expensive, these houses are basically cardboard. I'm just going to say it right now. These expensive ass houses are basically cardboard. They don't make them out of the same materials as they made them in the early 2000s, 90s, 80s, 70s. Look, if you talk to a European, their houses compared to the houses that you have in America, the ones in Europe are solid. They're made out of solid materials, thick and solid materials. You're not going to blow that house down. But in America, if you even breathe on it wrong, that whole thing is collapsing. The whole thing is collapsing. It's hollow, cheap, flimsy. I forgot the name of the material, but it is worse than just plywood, or probably is plywood. I've seen how these houses are built. I've seen them.
According to NBC, in Q2 of 2025, investors bought 1/3 of all single-family homes sold. 1/3 of homes in a 3-month period. And now they're not just buying homes, they're building entire neighborhoods that you can never own. These are called built-to-rent communities. They look like your average subdivision, houses, driveways, backyards, but every single home is rental only. Built-to-rent now accounts for 9% of all new single-family construction in the US.
Ew, it looks like a dystopian camp. Just imagine walking, like living there. You walk outside and everybody is just dead inside. There's nothing exciting, enjoyable. There's just people that are in debt, constantly paying these high ass payments for rent, constantly on edge at work. But everyone's mostly gone to work, working all day. And it will almost be like a ghost town because everyone is gone throughout the day working. And then when they come back, it's probably late at night. So the only time you see people out and about is only weekends. That's just what I'm just going to imagine. Because I used to live in some of these kind of neighborhoods, but not only apartments. I would see these, I forgot what it's called, but these neighborhoods, I'm just going to say neighborhoods, and they're empty. It's like, it's a ghost town. And there's only certain hours when you actually see maybe some kids out playing or maybe someone mowing grass or taking out the trash, but the neighborhood's dead. You'll see cars driving by, but that's it.
Companies like Tricon, which is part of Blackstone's real estate portfolio, are building these in Texas, Arizona, South Carolina. Look at this. A 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath, 1,900 square feet in Texas with fees comes out to $2,911 a month. They've got the cheap vinyl flooring, bathroom tile from the early 2000s, and a backyard the size of a shoebox. All for the low price of $3,000 a month. Their idea of solving the housing crisis is you will never own a house. You will rent a house instead of an apartment, but each year they'll still increase your rent.
You know what's so dumb? When I was in North Dakota, there were houses that were just like this. That were nice like this. Because when I was a fresh grad, and I acquired my first close to 6 figures job, I was house shopping. I was touring all these houses exactly like this. Exactly like this. In the year of 2019, the monthly payments for the mortgage was $200 to $300 a month. Now, these houses were maybe $100K, maybe $70K, $60K, the lowest. But these houses were affordable. They were nice. They were huge. They had a garage, a backyard, and basement, 3-bedroom, 5 bedrooms. The house that I really wanted to buy was a 5-bedroom house with a basement, with a garage, a 2-car garage, and then a front yard, backyard, and then like a side yard where there was another like a shack or whatever. And now, years later, it's over $500,000. It went from $65,000 to $600,000 to $700,000. And I'm like, that's actually the part of the story from my previous videos when I talked about I almost bought a home and was just going through all these hoops just to try to get the down payment. But then eventually I just ended up giving up because they just gave me the runaround. And buying a house became so unattractive then. But yeah, $3,000 for a mortgage. You might as well just live in a freaking shoebox. I mean, you might as well just live in your car, a van, an RV, and just travel.
I can't afford my house anymore. My mortgage just went up. When I first purchased this house, it was $169,000. And with all of the insurance and stuff added in, my monthly payment was $1,450 a month. Then my mortgage goes up and they say, oh, the cost of materials have gone up. So in case anything happens to your house, we'd have to rebuild it. So the insurance has gone up. And then the value of the property went up. My payment went from $1,450 to $1,740. My mortgage is now $2,500 a month. So it went from $1,450 to now $2,500.
Mortgages are on the rise.
Look, so to add on to that, my story about the house that I almost bought. So the mortgage was like 200 something, maybe like 201 or 205 a month, and the insurance, because I had State Farm, 3 vehicles on my insurance, and they gave me a discount, and then I had added the homeowner's insurance and stuff like that. So that made my monthly payments for everything cheaper. 3 vehicles, and I was under 25, 3 vehicles, the home on insurance. So it was going to come out to be just a little over $300 a month. But still, that is good for a 5-bedroom house with a basement, a garage, a shack, backyard, front yard, and then a side yard. And then I was next to a school. So if I ever wanted to start a family, like my kid could just walk to school and be fine. And then my job was like down the road. I would have had it all made, okay, for a fresh grad. But no. I'd say I'm just glad I didn't do it. I'm glad I didn't do it.
Property taxes keep going up. I mean, look at this house in New Jersey. 2-bedroom, 1-bath starter home hasn't been updated. $750,000. Let's look at the property taxes. They jumped 93% from 2024 to 2025. The property tax bill is now over $20,000. The insanity that used to be a down payment. After rent, utility.
I wish she would go down to 2018. I wish she would just open that Seymour and go all the way down to 2018, just so we can just see the massive difference. Okay? For these people that talk, here's the thing that gets on my nerves. I get so tired of hearing from the older generation talking about MAGA my day, or talking about you just need to work harder. When you look at the year, like that jumped from 2024 to 2025, that's 10K. That's a huge, massive jump in just a few $100s, okay? Oh man, this shit's
car payment, and every other bill. How is anyone supposed to save up for a $750,000 starter home that comes with a $20,000 tax bill? They can't. And the reality is, for a lot of people who have bought, they're realizing that they can't afford it, so they're trying to sell. In Austin, Texas, 4.2% of homeowners are upside down. In Cape Coral, Florida, it's 7.8%. Foreclosures are up 14% from 2024. Sellers are removing their listings because they don't want to go below what they initially paid. We can see it on this listing. On Google Trends, Sell My House keeps trending, and a top related query is Sell My House fast. People aren't just casually listing their homes, they need out of their mortgage.
Calling me got so...
Listen, it's going to get worse, but just to save the pain for myself, I'm going to leave the video in the description so you can see the rest of it. Let me know what you think. Like I said, buying a house in America makes absolutely no sense at all, especially when you look at other countries around the world that have such a good deal for people that want to own a house, especially if when you buy a house, you pay property tax once in a lifetime and you own the house. Or certain laws where you own a house for a certain amount of years, maybe like 50 years, because you're not going to live, like if you're purchasing a house at 30, you're not going to live past 50 years. I mean, you're not going to live the next 50 years. So the house is going to get get put back on the market, and then the next person will buy it. And I guess you could call that healthy recycling. But you're not going to be paying property taxes that are going to keep fluctuating year after year after year after year to the point that it just breaks you. It just doesn't make sense to buy a house in the States, man. It's a scam, and a lot of people are already homeless, and there's going to be more homeless people, more people living in the van life, the RV life, or moving abroad. I think moving abroad might be just a better choice, to be honest. I'm just going to say it. But again, if you like the video, like, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.